What's up, guys? This is Justin with IGN. I'm here with Destin.
Hey.
And we are taking a look at the Mad Catz Project M.O.J.O Android micro console. This is the first time that this console has been shown off to the world. It's sort of Mad Catz's version of the Ouya. We're seeing other standalone consoles. There's a handful of things that sort of separates the Project M.O.J.O from some other consoles, right, Destin? Mm-hmm. So you played around with this a little bit. This is going to ship in Q4. It's going to ship with Mad Catz's Control-R controller. And so this is kind of what you get in the box, plus an HDMI cable. Destin, what did you think about this controller? It's sort of based on it's a version of their Mlg Pro controller.
It feels great. It feels like a 360 controller, you know, with a better D-pad, of course. It controlled really well. I got to play some Grand Theft Auto. I played a bit of a shooter. We had to turn down the sensitivity, but I mean, once that was set, it was great.
So the big thing about the Project M.O.J.O is that it plays stock Android games. It doesn't have its own store. You know, if you already have a collection of Android games, you don't need to rebuy them. But sort of the problem or disadvantage with something like that is that obviously this console doesn't have a touch screen. And so Mad Catz has come up with a couple different solutions.
Like this mouse.
Right. The first thing is that you plug any mouse into this device that you want. You know, it's got USB ports on the back. It also supports Bluetooth. And so you can use mouse mode in your stock Android games to sort of take the place of where you would be using your finger. Destin, we played a little bit of Angry Birds earlier where, you know, we just sort of use the mouse to fling a few birds around.
Yeah. I'm sorry I'm modeling all the 6 mice we have.
You're an excellent hand model,
four mice,
Destin.
yes.
So, you know, did the mouse mode work? Sort of what did you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, you click the bird and you throw them. I mean, it worked just fine. And we were also using it in menus a little bit. I mean, yeah, it's a standard mouse interface. It works great.
So we didn't get to see it today, but when this device launches, the controller will also have a mouse mode in it. And so that will let you use the analog stick to sort of take the place of, you know, where you would be dragging a mouse cursor around on the screen. The other thing that's special about the Control-R is that it's got 2 different Bluetooth modes inside. So it's got sort of traditional Bluetooth if, you know, that's what a video game supports or that's the only way it can communicate with the controller. But it's also going to support the new sort of Bluetooth 4.0 standard that's got, you know, lower latency, better battery life, all the sort of good stuff that gamers need, you know, from a Bluetooth controller. So, Destin, the console itself is very small, very light. You know, why don't you talk a little bit about some of the ports or input and output options we have on this?
All right, so it's got USB, micro USB, HDMI, and of course your power outlet.
It's also got a micro SD card port in the back. And so the console's going to ship with no less than 16 gigabytes of onboard storage. It might be configurable for more than that, but if you need more space, you know, you'll be able to pop a micro SD card in the back and sort of expand your space that way as well. Mad Catz is really stressing that this is a wide open device. So we sort of see we have a wide range of Mad Catz devices here. You know, it'll work with their Bluetooth and USB keyboards. It'll work with all their mice. It'll work with all their controllers and headsets. But if you already have a controller, you already have a headset or keyboard, you don't need to have Mad Catz's products to use this. You'll be able to use whatever you already own, as long as it supports USB and Bluetooth and the other input mechanisms that the Project M.O.J.O has. So, Destin, we took a look at a few games running on the Project M.O.J.O. Why don't you talk a little bit about what we played?
All right, well, we checked out Dead Trigger, which is like a first-person shooter. You said it's been out for a little while, but it's kind of like zombie mode in Call of Duty, where you're just killing a bunch of zombies and you know, taking them out. Now, in the intro screen, we had to use the mouse, but you said the controller later is going to have mouse support.
Yeah, there'll be mouse mode in the final controller that will let you tab through menus if they don't support the controller natively.
Yeah. We also played Angry Birds, which didn't use the controller. We used the mouse for Angry Birds, and as you know, it's Angry Birds, so you fling the bird, and that worked great. But then we played one of my favorites, Grand Theft Auto 3, classic Grand Theft Auto, which works on this. It doesn't work on the Ouya, actually, which is interesting. And I'm excited to get Vice City, which is actually my favorite Grand Theft Auto of all time. So yeah, and they all run great on the Android platform.
Yep. So the Mad Catz Project M.O.J.O is going to be available in Q4. We don't have the exact specs yet or an exact price yet, but Destin, based on what I've seen so far, I mean, this is definitely a console or a piece of hardware that I'm going to want to keep my eye on.
Cool. Well, thanks for having me on.
Thank you, Destin. And thanks for Mad Catz for sort of letting us reveal their new hardware to the world.